Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. This one's definitely a little bit different from previous videos on this channel. For the most part, I do a lot of, farms, really efficient stuff. But I decided to go outside my element. I've always liked building and I've always been good at it, but I just don't do it often. So this is the castle from a movie called Abracadabra-doo. It's about Scooby-Doo. That makes me sound like a real child, but I don't really care. I love the movie. I watched it a ton when I was a lot younger. But yeah, I thought to pay homage, I wanted to build the actual castle. So obviously, this is the castle. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll actually see a picture. This was the only picture I could find online that actually had that shows the full castle. The castle actually constantly changes throughout by the different shots. At once, it actually has it looks at the castle from about straight on flat like this, but it's a lot further away. And it actually just shows this little building here. But obviously you can't see that from here, so I decided to use that little building. But yeah, like I said, the castle changes quite a bit, so I decided to just use that one image as a reference. Obviously, some stuff I just couldn't see, so I had to guess about little things like even just like the towers back here. I didn't want to leave just a flat back, because to me that seems a little bit bland and lame. So, and even like I guess the outskirts of the castle perimeter, I added just to make the entire build seem a little bit more complete. Another thing that you would have seen in the time lapse actually up here was the sundial. You'll see a picture again. They only briefly look at this, but I thought, well, if I'm going to do the entire castle, I might as well add the little things. So as far as I could go was make this was as good as I could do for a sundial. There was a couple bumps, which I kind of assumed were crypts in the actual movie. Other than that, obviously the front, that was kind of all me. They don't, again, stay consistent with it, so I thought, okay, well, I'll use the oval and then these extra lines that they have, and I'll use a similar water fountain. But, I took my own spin on it, so I did add a lot of hedges, because in one scene he is cutting, the caretaker is cutting a hedge, so I decided to add those. Added some flowers, give it a little bit more contrast, and then I added these nice custom trees all the way up to the gate. So the gate was one of those things that I actually built first of all. I kind of wanted to get a style down, so I did this. Even like this sign here, it says Whirl and Merlin's Magic Academy. I wanted to add that, and just kind of make the entire build seem more complete. I've never really liked it when people build, say, like a castle or like a really, really nice detailed build, but they build it on like flat green area. They don't actually add it to anything that makes it feel like it's part of the world. So that's what I really wanted to accomplish with this. Even little things like in one of the first scenes, when they are going over a bridge just to get to the castle, they actually go over a bit of a gorge, but it has this kind of naturally generated arch in the rock, and I wanted to kind of duplicate that, so I added this nice little one. I like how the fog kind of rolls in around it. Even like little things like you actually spawn here and then you kind of journey along kind of the appropriate timeline of the movie. So you would come up, and even like when they first see the castle, they kind of come around this corner and the trees kind of part out of the way, and I wanted to kind of recreate that feeling. Obviously I don't have the render distance set up very high because I'm using quite intense shaders, but usually the castle renders a lot quicker, and it renders right around the time when you're coming around that bend. So I was trying to add that feeling. Another thing was the tomb. For those of you who watch the time lapse and you've never seen the movie, you'd probably be a little confused about what that was and the other things in it. So you come down from the hill onto the little dock. They get into a boat, and then they go across the river. I really tried to recreate this shot of kind of coming down, seeing the castle up on the hill, and then coming down to the lake. This lake, by the way, is called Shadow Lake. And then the entrance to the tomb I did try to recreate, but there was some adaptations. Obviously, this was what it looked like a little bit in the movie, but there were stairs around the side. I took that to make it seem a little bit more, I guess, clean, simplistic. And I actually there were 4 pillars in the movies. I added 8, make it seem a little bit more circular, a little bit more clean. Even like the little chains, I wanted to keep the details like they show in the movie there. This hallway, it's not detailed because it was never shown in the movie, so I didn't care really how I did it on there. I just used a bunch of mixtures of blocks. This is actually a griffin. It was a big part in the movie, so I did try to keep his grave looking like the same. I even added the backlighting that was in the movie. Actually, now that I think about it, it was more of a bluish hue, but I mean, I don't really care. In the movie, the griffin, this thing was overlooking a grave, and I was actually going to be able to. I do have an armor stand mod that lets me. Gives me a little bit more freedom in how the armor stand looks. So I was going to create it to look like there was a mold of the guy, like a concrete mold you'd see in like really old tombs on top of this. But I mean, that was a little bit extra. Even like the extra tombs on the sides, I didn't want to have to do it for each one, so I just thought, okay, well, I'm not going to do it at all. There were a couple things that I did not do because I just want to get this video out. Obviously, there was the actual exit of the tomb I didn't bother doing because it just would have been a lot of work, and I didn't want to have to deal with the trees, because dealing with these trees and cutting them down is not easy. Yeah, but I mean, that's really it for the world. The world is actually custom designed by a program called World Painter. It gives you a lot of freedom in terms of what you want the world to look like, the elevation change, forests everywhere if you really want them, and even like adding custom lakes. I think this honestly looks a lot better than the normal Minecraft terrain, and it also saves a lot of time with terraforming. The world is actually about, I think it's 1,000 by 1,000, and then with a 512 void barrier until it just goes to normal generated world. I tried to keep the castle relatively in the middle of the world. That way, if you look out to the sides, you don't see void. I actually kind of achieved that quite well, even though this isn't the center of the world. This is actually more to the bottom left corner. But yeah, I think the world turned out quite nice. It took me quite a while. This is about 25 hours of work total, actually, for the entire world. Actually, more like plus an extra five hours of designing the world. That took quite a bit of time. But I mean, that's really all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it was a little bit more different from what I usually do, but I had a lot of fun doing it. If you guys want to see more stuff like this, consider subscribing. I mean, that's all for me. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.